Orchestra. The pit during the musical was fantastic. Yeah.
On behalf, on behalf of the Martinsville School Board, we'd like to thank you for being here in person or virtually. I'm Matt Hankins, President of the School Board. To my left is Heather Staggs, Vice President. To her left is Luke Jackson, Secretary. To his left is Dan Conway, Board Member. And to his left is Jackie Decker, Board Member. To my right is Eric Boland, Superintendent. And to his right is Mrs. Susie Lips, Assistant to the Superintendent. If everyone would please stand, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Courtney, is there anyone here to speak? Okay. Moving along, we now have the consent agenda. Do I have any questions on the consent agenda?
Hey, Matt, a couple questions on this. I was looking through some of the personnel. I was looking at the substitute teacher pay. I talked to Eric a little bit about this today. And just looking at our challenges for substitute teachers and then having kids in either the auditorium or the cafeteria missing a teacher, I think is one thing that I'd look at. And when you look at the rates, I guess, per day, I don't know if we can get some data from surrounding schools or maybe look at this because I feel for the administration trying to find anyone to fill those roles. And we wonder why we don't have those at $85 a day or whatever X dollars a day is. I think that's going to continue to be a challenge, and I'm not sure how you fix it. I think we just need to continue to kind of look at that and say, if you were doing it, for 7 hours a day, I mean, do the math. It's pretty low when we look at different roles. I mean, I look at the bus drivers, and I fully support trying to pay our bus drivers exactly what we pay them. I think we can do what we can control, but when you look at the substitute teacher, I think the hours required and the commitment required, I would say that's probably the biggest challenge we're going to continue to have. And I don't like when my kids don't have a teacher any more than anyone in the general public or up on the board. I'm assuming we would. So whatever we can try to do to assess where we're at compared to the other ones, and then, I don't know the solution for this. Obviously, if it was that simple, we'd have waved a stick at it a long time ago and solved it. But I hear a lot from parents saying, why isn't there a teacher? And I get it. There's a lot of reasons, FMLA, sickness, short staffing. I mean, there's 10 variables or 100 variables that could affect that. But when I look at that math, I just think we got to continue to kind of find that solution to get someone committed to it. And I don't have that solution. I just think it's something that when I look at the math, hopefully we can help that cause a little bit as we move forward. And I don't think there's nobody that's going to disagree with it, but I think we've got to do something or we're going to have this issue for the next 4 years. I mean, really.
Yeah, is it an issue of having it filled? Because I've heard the same thing about the high school with classes being added into the auditorium. Are those added to Subfinder or do
Yes.
they? Okay.
Yeah, what we run into is exactly what Mr. Conway is talking about. There are not enough, number one, there are not enough teachers in the pipeline. There's definitely not enough subs in the pipeline. One of our best subs is sitting here in the front row to my left side. That has been an issue ongoing, and it's gotten worse in all districts because finding staff. And taking on that task, I think it's very important for us to look at the others and look at solutions. So I'm in a superintendent study group, and that's one of the things we've been talking about. We were at the ISBA conference earlier this fall and met with a company there that does some things contracting with it. And they have a number of districts really north of Indianapolis. That's where they're at right now, and we're exploring that. Going to look at the financial impact of that, and then take a look at that comparison with, okay, if we had to do that, how much could we bump our subs up as well? It's something we definitely have to look at. The problem you run into when you don't have enough subs, secondary goes first in the morning. So SubFinder calls for subs for them. So we have to be very careful because you can't have elementary not filled. Because an elementary kid can't get on a computer and do a e-learning lesson. Whereas a high school kid, even though it's not as effective, they can. So, you know, you really are juggling two-edged sword there. And that's not a lot of fun. But what we'll do, if it's okay with the board, we'll get some data from surrounding districts, share that with you. We'll get the company, ESS, get their information, and we'll explore. There's got to be a couple more that are out there, but they're the ones that have been at the forefront. So we'll explore that and get it to you because we have to do something to try to tackle it. Cost of doing business now.
And it'd be nice if we could see what you see each week. And I'm not asking for the detail, everything, just how many classes are we missing? How many subs are we missing? And what are you seeing? Because I think when you hear it from, and I hear it from my children.
Sure.
Every once in a while too, so I'm not, no disrespect to nobody. It is a fact that we have that. How much is it happening? I mean, we should be able to look at the math of that to say,
Yeah.
it's happening 20 times in high school or whatever, we're looking at for the school.
We
I just
keep
think
that data every day. I can forward that to you tomorrow. We keep it the
maybe
last
just
3
weekly
or 4
something.
years.
Yeah, just to see what you're running into. to
Every
understand
day,
that.
how many teachers are out, how many teacher spots were filled.
And then we buy preps, you know, to try to get teachers who they'll sell their prep and come in and cover. So we did bonuses a few years ago, so we might have to revisit that again because that fell off after the COVID stuff fell off. So it might be something for us to revisit.
But I think with your superintendent's group too, the discussion is that everyone's in the
Yeah.
same boat.
It's
You know,
awful.
and I know that, you know, we did compare surrounding schools, maybe not this school year, and we were, you know, like, we weren't incredibly low, we were right with everybody else, so, I mean, I agree, I'd love to pay them a lot of more money each day, but I just don't think we have enough people, you know, that apply to be a sub-teacher anymore, so. and
Yeah,
not
we have
just
the
here,
same
everywhere.
issues
Yeah.
too at Monroe Gregg.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be something you're gonna deal with at every school district. What is the supply demand? How do you do it? And if you're short X amount of people, we're gonna have to figure that out, or I don't know how you're gonna fix it or address it, so challenges are out there.
Thank you
That's
for
all I have.
the share.
Any other questions or comments on the consent agenda? Okay, do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion. We accept the consent agenda.
I'll
Have-
second it.
I have a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next, we have student field trips and professional travel.
Okay, we have the Academic Quiz Bowl. Since they went to Cincinnati, Ohio, so now they're seeking approval since we had a very early board meeting in October. Feels like it's been a long time since I've seen you all. So I recommend approval of that.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept the field trip for the academic quiz bowl?
I'll make the motion, Matt, to approve the academic quiz bowl field trip. I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the academic quiz bowl. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign, motion carried.
The next one is the School Nutrition Association Industry Conference. Mr. Bodell and Mr. Vetter are going to be attending that. No district funds are utilized for that. And that's to Phoenix, Arizona. I think I might go with them. They might need a chaperone, but I recommend approval.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the School Nutrition Association Industry Conference?
I make a motion. We approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the School Nutrition Association Industry Conference. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
The next one is the Elevate Conference in Nashville, Tennessee for Ms. Soniga and Ms. Miller. And I think they went to California. They're going to talk about that here in just a short bit. This is a pre-K, early childhood conference. They've got some things they want to target there because we're going to expand what we're doing. The article that Mr. Jackson put in the correspondent was outstanding on the pre-K endeavor and effort here by the district. I really appreciate that. So that's what this is for, is to, I think reading and math are the key focuses for them on this one. So I recommend approval.
Okay. Do I
Matt,
have,
can we discuss this one a little bit?
yes,
And I did some work on this one. I looked at this one last night, and this one, I just pulled up the information I had. I looked at the videos of this conference, and it's very heavy DEI, heavy social emotional learning. The videos, I don't think did it justice. I don't think it broke down some of the other things. I do see some of the topics in here, science of reading, English, math. I see it. I didn't get the best sense of it. I know I'm one of 5 people, so when I get these, I do look at the curriculum piece, I do look at the direction, I get as much information as I can on it, and this one bothered me probably a little bit more than some of the other ones. I'm sure there's good things about it, just like when you went to California, I'm sure there were some good things about that, and maybe things that you didn't take back from the conference, but, that's the only feedback I had on that.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that, Matt.
all right, I have a motion and a second to approve the Elevate Conference. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion's carried, 4-1.
The next one is Marine Corps Recruit Educators Workshop. Mr. Urban is going to that. That will be in San Diego at the end of March and into April 4th. I recommend approval.
I'll make a motion, Matt, to approve the Marine Corps Recruit Educator Workshop.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the Marine Corps Recruit Educators Workshop for Daniel Urban. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Before I pass this off to Mrs. Lips, due to the weather, we did not have a student recognition this evening. We would have had, and we would have had the girls cross-country team that won the county, Laura Barco going to the state. That's what we would have done. So we'll put that off. Hopefully, we won't have bad weather here in December, but it is Indiana. Who knows? But I wanted to let everybody know that. Mrs. Lips?
Thank you. Mrs. Soniga, Lisa Soniga, and Mrs. Allie Miller attended a conference in California this month. And because the board allowed that, we'd like to share what they learned and how it will impact our district. So we've invited Allie and Lisa to be here this evening. They're going to do a short presentation about what they learned. If you could welcome Lisa and Allie.
I am Lisa Soniga, and this is my 24th year working for the MSD of Martinsville. I'm currently the Title I coordinator and the pre-K coordinator for the district, and a proud mom of 2 Martinsville graduates in 2007 and 2012.
I am Allie DeWitt-Miller, and this is my 12th year in education. I'm currently the assistant pre-K coordinator in student services here for the district. I have come from multiple generations that are rooted here in Martinsville. I as well am a Martinsville graduate in 2007, and I also am a proud mom of 2 boys. And my son, my oldest, just started pre-K on Monday.
And we're seeing lots of pictures.
Is
So-
he swimming yet?
No. Well, yes, but no.
Just
Not
curious.
dad level swimming. Yeah.
But Lisa, before you go on, congratulations on what I read about your son's achievement.
Thank you.
He's a doctor of doctors, with the best way to phrase that. What he's attained is absolutely amazing. So I wanted to personally congratulate you here in front of our listening audience. So kudos.
Thank you. I'll let him, I'll pass that along to him as well.
Please.
I will. Okay. First of all, Ally and I want to thank you for allowing us to attend the conference in Anaheim, California. There was over 500 sessions that we could choose between to attend. Obviously, if one person went, you would not get the same benefit. So we were able to go to several sessions. I mainly go to science of reading because that's my passion. So when I'm looking through the sessions, that's what I usually attend, anything that has to do with reading and ELA. I also attended some on behaviors because that's our number one thing that we see right now, sometimes at the start. In the past, in our pre-K programs, when there was behavior issues, a lot of times they were just kicked out of the program. And we realized that these 4-year-olds are going to be in our kindergarten classroom the very next year. And so we feel it's really important that we do everything we can to keep them in the pre-K program, whether that's moving them to developmental pre-K, shortening their day, shortening their week, having behavior plans. And we have not expelled any kids from the program this year so far. So that's one of the things I attended. I went to all leadership sessions, behavior sessions, and science of reading sessions.
Myself, I went to a lot more of the classroom management being proactive instead of reactive. These are 4-year-olds that we're working with. A lot of times they come in different like spaces, mindsets. You know, some of the kids are not used to being around other kids or in a classroom setting. The way our classrooms are set up, we have certain stations set up. There are 10 stations, so a lot of times the kids aren't used to that. So kind of classroom management being proactive instead of, oh, hey, you know, we have to be more reactive because of the behaviors that we're seeing. I did focus some on leadership as I am a new leader in this role. I focused on pre-K transitions because obviously as a teacher, I know that transitions are really important. Now that we have pre-K, it looks a little different. I actually networked the very first day quite a bit. And I met some teachers from New York, and we really talked about outdoor classroom environments and experiences and what that looks like in early childhood. They were 3K teachers, which means that they were 3-year-olds, not preschool teachers, because they also had a 4K classroom. Really thought that was kind of cool. So I talked to them about outdoor classroom learning experiences. So then I focused another day on picking outdoor classroom experience sessions. And then I also went to gifted learners and how to identify them and what we should be focusing on when we're looking at gifted students, because it looks different as a 4-year-old. And play-based learning, because they're 4. And there are a lot of different benefits for play-based learning. The communication piece alone is huge, and the kids learn by what they see, how they interact with others. So doing that and focusing with outdoor experiences and the learning curriculum mapped with her science of reading, our math. I don't know, I think we could do some really cool things with our outdoor learning.
As you can see from our slide, this is an updated slide. After today, we are now at 120 pre-K students in our program. Last year, there was 103 was the max that we reached, and 48% of those actually have qualified for the vouchers. It's very competitive. The vouchers have now run out for this school year. So that's why it's really imperative that we get the families in as soon as the application opens up on April 1st for the next school year. That's what we have for now. Any questions?
You want to tell them about our signs that are going to be out at the buildings?
Oh, yes. So I've been creating a banner for each school. They're quite large. Shields just gave them to me today, and I was gonna put one up, but we didn't have any way to hang it, and it looked really nice. So we will have pre-K enrollment banners coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Also, I'd like to thank Mr. Luke Jackson and Mrs. Heather Staggs. They visited, toured 3 of our pre-K programs, Centerton, Perrigan, and Smith. Myself and Allie and Lisa had the opportunity to hostess the two board members and to visit some of the classrooms so that they could see what was going on. So thank you for taking time out of your personal lives to see what's happening, and probably a lot of that information seemed very appropriate. So thank
for
you.
having us.
Also, this month here at the MSD of Martinsville, we recognize Veterans Day on November 11th. Martinsville schools recognize the service and sacrifices of veterans in our country. On the display screens in the room tonight, you can see some of the pictures of Veterans Day activities in our schools. At this time, the MSD of Martinsville wants to say thank you to all veterans who are here in attendance. If you are a veteran, please stand at this time and be recognized. We'd like to thank you for your sacrifices in keeping the United States of America as the land of the free. So thank you, veterans, and thank you to all those veterans listening. In other curriculum, last school year, the MSD of Martinsville was awarded the Competitive Science of Reading Grant. The $150,000 funding was dedicated to obtaining literacy coaches, specialized training, curriculum pilots, and reading-based intervention programs for special ed students. As a result, Paragon Elementary rose from the bottom to the top performing elementary school in the MSD of Martinsville on iRead scores. In order to continue that momentum, Paragon applied and was accepted into the Indiana Literacy Cadre. The cadre is a partnership between the Indiana Department of Ed and the University of Indianapolis Center of Excellence, partner to provide high quality, evidence-based support and training to schools implementing the science of reading. The district is excited to create more opportunities for Paragon teachers and for all teachers in our district as they share their learning and positive feedback from students with their colleagues. And in the spirit of Thanksgiving and being grateful, we want to give a thank you shout out to all of the district's teachers, administrators, and support staff, custodial, instructional, technology, maintenance, clinic, office, bus drivers, and other transportation, and police officers. Everyone works seamlessly together in an effort for all students to learn, grow, and achieve while knowing there are adults in the district who care about them every step of the way. The school community is thankful for all of you. Shout out to all of the elementary schools, Brooklyn, Centerton, Green Township, Paragon, Poston Road, Smith, and South. Also, shout out to Bell Intermediate Academy and Martinsville High School Spell Bowl coaches, students, and parents for their hard work and preparation for Spell Bowl competitions. Thank you for representing the MSD of Martinsville. A special shout out goes to Centerton Elementary School Principal, Dr. Stephanie Manley, and the entire Centerton Elementary staff for the time and efforts they dedicated this month to hosting the Elementary Spell Bowl event earlier. Thank you to everyone for attending tonight. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mrs. Lips.
Under old business, just to let everybody know where we are, obviously, you've heard about all the building projects and stuff, the bot projects still ongoing. It's not a short process, it's a long process, a tedious process. We'll be doing a resolution here in just a moment as part of the legal requirements. But I've been going around starting to visit the schools to let them know what we're looking at and how it impacts them, that type of thing, so they're not fearful for jobs. That was one thing the board wanted to express to them, that we're not going out and just axing. We'll determine the appropriate level and get there by, we have a few years to do this. So that's how we're going to look at it. So that's a big step. So I just want to let the board know that's taking place, had good reception so far. We'll continue to go down that path. So any questions on that?
Yeah, Eric, when is our communication going to go out to
That will
the
go out
community?
after the land purchase.
Okay.
That was determined yesterday.
Okay.
that's one thing, people often are asking those questions, right? This is a legal process that we have to do, have to follow. There are certain things we have to check boxes, and it's amazing when you do this. I could tell a joke about attorneys, but I probably shouldn't because this will be recorded and I would get sued. So the legal stuff is daunting. It is amazing what you have to go through and make sure that you do this and this order and this after that. And it is quite something. So the information we receive from them is wait until that's done and then we'll go with the release. We've been ready for a month and a half, 2 months. But one of those things not to mess up the whole process. So thank you for the question. That's the latest on it. It's not what we wanted to hear. Any other questions? Okay. You want me to
Mr.
go
Bowman?
through the action items?
Yeah.
Number one,
Set to go.
speaking of the bot process, resolution adopting Indiana Code Article 5-23. This is part of that bot process. This is one of those statutory things we have to make sure that we approve. So I recommend approval of action item number one.
Do I have a motion for the resolution adopting Indiana Code Article 5-23?
I'll make a motion. We approve resolution adopting Indiana Code Article 5-23.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution adopting Indiana Code Article 5-23. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Action item number two is amendment to the transportation contract. We made a deal with one of our contractors to pick up some of our students and some of our routes to consolidate and try to make it. Here we are talking about staffing and shortages. Bus drivers is another one of those areas that we do not have enough bus drivers. So anybody listening out there, we can train you on the job. We have in-house training. We'll get you through the classes. You can get your CDL. You can use that CDL in other fields as well. But we need bus drivers. We've got a couple in the pipeline, but this will help us. So right now, we have to give kudos to our transportation department. Our co-directors drive and our mechanics drive. Mechanics are supposed to take care of buses. That's what they're hired for. But that's where we're at. They don't gripe, they don't complain. It's amazing what they do. They get kids to school. They get kids to school safely and they get them home safely. So we can't speak highly enough about what they're doing for us. But we're trying to help them out. That's what this amendment is for, to put us in a financial position to try to cover and then try to build our bench of bus drivers. So I recommend approval of this amendment.
Okay, do I have a motion to the amendment to the transportation contract?
I'll make a motion to the amendment of the transportation contract.
I have a motion.
I'll second that, Matt.
I have a motion and a second to the amendment to the transportation contract. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
So anybody out there wants to drive, or you know somebody wants to learn to drive and get CDL, tell them to contact us here at the office. We'll get you taken care of. Number three, request for proposal for grades 5 through 9 Dell 3120 Chromebook device fleet refresh. It's that time for them. So recommend approval to get those proposals.
Okay, do I have a motion for the request for proposal grades 5 through 8 Dell 3120 Chromebook device fleet refresh?
I'll make a motion, Matt, to request for the proposal. I won't read the whole thing that you just read.
And I
For
will
new Chromebooks,
second
okay?
Action
it.
item number three.
Yeah, refresh of Chromebooks.
I'll
Okay.
second that for Jackie.
All right, so I have a motion and a second for the request for proposals grade 5 through 8 Chromebook device refresh. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
That was kind of funny. Thank you, Matt. Number four, retire church Hiddle. The policies, these are the old policies that we've replaced with Neola. now we have to retire these and get them off our books. So I recommend approval of this retirement.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay,
I'll
I-
second it.
okay, I have a motion and a second to retire the church Hill policies. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
How long will it take to get those off our website?
Now that you have approval,
Tomorrow?
tomorrow,
Okay,
how do you like
thank you.
that?
Thank you.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
That's awesome.
Magic button.
That's right. Courtney has it.
Okay, number 5, approve the creation at Martinsville High School, an ECA club for Indiana youth government. Recommend approval.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the Martinsville High School ECA Club Indiana Youth Government?
I make,
motion.
go ahead.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve the Martinsville High School ECA Club Indiana Youth Government. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
The next one is looking for approval for the Digital Learning Parent and Family Support Grant, $15,000. This is for a website plug-in for translation and our Parent Square link, so recommend approval for this.
Do I have a motion for the Digital Learning Parent and Family Support Grant?
I'll make a motion, Matt, to approve the Digital Learning Parent and Family Support Grant.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the Digital Learning Parent and Family Support Grant. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
The next one is Duke Energy STEM Grant in the amount of $3,000. I recommend approval. This will support our district-wide robotics initiative.
Do I have a motion to approve the Duke Energy STEM Grant?
I make a motion, we approve the Duke Energy STEM grant.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve the Duke Energy STEM Grant. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you. The next section are our donations, 13 donations on here. And one thing I would like to point out before I go through and read the donations, out of the 13, 3 are for athletics. The rest are all for different programs in our district. So very proud of that. Our community is so supportive of our students, and it shows. So for them, we'll vote for them in block, but we want to read them as we always do because they're generous. Donation from Candy Kitchen to Martinsville Athletics, $250. Donation from McDonald's to Martinsville High School Athletics, $387.35. Donation from Morgan County Fall Foliage Festival to the Marching Artisans, $500. Donation from Deborah Burden to BIA Choir. Thank you, Ms. Burden. $500. Donation from Martinsville Music Boosters to Elementary Honor Choir in the amount of $514. Donation from Samaria Baptist Church to the food service in the amount of $520. Donation from Indiana Pork Producers Association to Martinsville High School FFA, $850. Donation from O'Neill Salvage and Recycling LLC to food service in the amount of $1,000. Donation from Morgan County Sertoma Club to the MHS Dance Marathon Group in the amount of $1,198. Donation from FlowSource to MSD Robotics. They have been an unbelievable supporter of our robotics effort in the amount of $1,500. Donation from Anonymous to the Brooklyn Elementary School in the amount of $2,000. Donation from H&R Block to MHS Athletics in the amount of $4,000. And a donation from Anonymous, we like Mr. and Miss Anonymous, to MSD Robotics in the amount of $7,680. That is awesome. So I recommend approval of all these wonderful, generous donations.
Do I have a,
I won't even make you read them all. I'll just make a motion to accept the donations as placed before us.
I'll second.
okay, we have a motion and a second to approve all the donations that have been placed before us. And again, we want to thank all the generous people from the Martinsville community. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next, we have public comment. And do we have anybody to speak? Yes. Okay. At the completion of the regular school board meeting, a visitor that wishes to speak may do so at the discretion of the president. The visitor will be required to state his or her full name and be given the opportunity to speak, not to exceed 3 minutes per person. In an effort to fairly adhere to the 3-minute guidelines for all speakers, we'll present a timer on the interactive panels. Board members will listen to the speakers, will not engage in back and forth conversation. Board feedback or answers to questions will be provided before the next board meeting or at the beginning of the next board meeting. At the conclusion of 3 minutes, speakers will be asked to return to their seats. It shall not be permissible to orally present or discuss complaints against individual employees of the MSD of Martinsville at any Board of Trustees meeting. Such charges or complaints shall be presented to the Board of Trustees in writing and shall be signed by the person making the charge or complaint. Boisterous conduct shall not be permitted at any meeting of the Board of Trustees, nor will any defamatory or abusive remarks be tolerated. We appreciate everyone's civility in maintaining a business order as it has been the practice at school board meetings. And so who do we have to speak? Mark Murray.
Hello, my name is Mark Murray. I'm actually speaking, the marching band has concluded for the year. They did great this year, getting a first place at Greenwood competition, picking up a gold at the Whiteland prelims. Unfortunately, did not get them because of the amount of gold ratings through the 4 sites in the state. Did not get to state. But they had a fantastic year. I was able to help at all the competitions and all the band football games. Actually, I didn't sign up for the last competition. I was going to watch it from the stands, and I was told, no, you're not. You're come help. But which I did help it. I did help load and everything to begin with, and unload the trucks no matter what. So, but there was a bunch of band moms that went out of their way providing meals each football game, each competition, that did a wonderful job feeding those kids. And real quick, they wanted to put one more shout out to the kind of going along with the donations, our wonderful community for donating stuff to those foods. So we had Ani's Italian Restaurant, Greek's Pizzeria of Martinsville, Circle K, Chili's, Subway, Indies, Tres Caminos, and Los Rios that donated something to several of those meals. So wanted to make sure they got another recognition for that because we couldn't do it without.
Thank you, Mr. Murray.
Thanks. Anyone else? All right. So we go on to the superintendent's comments.
Okay, I will be brief. We obviously have weather out there that Indiana, winter is now upon us, our first snow. I want to thank the board for allowing us to purchase a year and a half ago the BAM weather system, which we have our own meteorologist. It's a very insightful, very concise program. Like this evening, for example, the meteorologist told us that we're going to have some snow, but the road temperatures are going to be above freezing, that the ambient temperature is going to be above freezing. You're going to have snow, but it's not going to stick on the highways and the roadways. You're going to be good, and I think they hit it 100% spot on. Said it was going to start about 3 o'clock. I think they missed it by a few minutes, but I wanted to thank the board. It's a little bit of a price tag, but for our safety, for our kids, and for our staff, I think it's wonderful. So I just wanted to personally say that's a great investment for us in safety. Okay, a couple of things here. Phantom of the Opera. My goodness, speaking of the music and performing arts that Mr. Murray just spoke with the band, the orchestra pit, the stage crew, the stage itself, unbelievable. Rusty out there, unbelievable job with your team. The cast, I can't believe, we had 2 casts, and I got the opportunity to go to see both of them. I cannot believe the amount of talent that we have in our building. To be able to put 2 casts for something so, that's a tough musical. That's a big one. And to knock it out of the park, both casts did that. I tell you, Mr. Smarza, fantastic job. The whole department there, Mr. Belt, Ms. Lanigan, fantastic effort. We've received a great, I think I forwarded it to you all, we got the tip line, one, I don't even know the person, they put their name on it and everything, said they read about it, they came to it, and they were so grateful, and said that the young lady that played Christine's like, oh, what a gift, but she said, I am so glad I went. So kudos to the department. So I just wanted to share that. Fantastic job on Phantom of the Opera. Mr. Stout, also, thank you for getting that chandelier and making sure that we could do that. It was one of those things, if you got to go to the performance, that chandelier wasn't something that you just go pick up at a, down the street, a pawn shop. That was massive, and we had to have a hoist system, the whole works, and Kyle and his team made sure that we were going to meet all the codes and be able to get that for our students. So it added to the performance. So thank you, Kyle. I wanted to publicly say that. We have the football team, obviously, was victorious, won the regional for the first time since 1996. That's been a few years. They play tomorrow night at New Pal. So it's been wonderful to see the community rally around the excitement there. Mark, you were mentioning about the band. They were there at the football games, and what I really was impressed with, they stayed throughout the games. They were there the whole time with that pep going, so kudos to them for that. Kudos to the football program. The cheerleaders were in their competition. Unbelievable. Here they were on a Friday night in competition. One weekend on the sectional championship. Saturday, they were at the Habitat build. Then they're in the competition or football game. And then the next Saturday morning, they're over in Newcastle for their competition. Unbelievable. Then the last weekend, Friday night, Saturday morning, they're at the Mid-State, and they won the Mid-State this year. Great effort by them. So each of those weekends, they were late at night, early the next morning, and they represented Martinsville in super fashion. So kudos to our cheerleaders. We have really had a great fall. We have hosted 2 semi-states. We hosted semi-state soccer. We weren't playing, we were hosting. And we hosted semi-state volleyball this year. Why did the IHSA choose us? They chose us because, number one, on how we do things. So I'll give kudos to Mr. Staggs, Mr. Bell there at the high school, how we do things, how we cover things, how we treat people when they come in. We get these good positive reports from the IHSA too. And it's almost like a weekly basis now, we get complimentary reports from them for how we conduct ourselves. Last weekend, we got another one for the football game. The officials there at that regional said the kids were outstanding. The players did everything they were asked to do, helping the other team up. It's like, well, help them up, but you want to tackle them the next time. Knock them back down. Help them up after you knock them down. It's okay, as long as you do it the right way. But it was great reading that, hearing that. But we were asked to host because of how we do things and also our facilities, the investment that we've made over the last 3 years in our facilities. People are talking about Martinsville for other things. It's intentional on the board's part, on the administration's part at the high school, and then our team to try to put our best foot forward and put things out there that Martinsville can be proud of. That's what's happening as a result of that effort. So I want to give kudos to the board for that. The last thing I have, just the winter sports are in full swing now, which is, well, basketball boys will get started, but girls have been in action for a couple of weeks. Get a chance to go watch the Lady Artesians, get a chance to go watch wrestling. It's some exciting things happening outside of what we're doing in the classroom. Our co-curricular and extracurricular teams are wonderful. And we'll be doing our robotics that will be starting up here real soon. Those competitions, spell bowls, the academic teams, a lot happening, a lot of great things happening because of great staff, great students, and great community support. So thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Boland. Now, do I have any board member comments?
Why you look at me, Dan?
I'm just waiting.
Happy
Actually,
Thanksgiving.
I do just want to say, yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for everyone coming tonight, whether you're here in person or virtually. But next week is Thanksgiving, and just want to wish everyone a safe and blessed Thanksgiving. And if you're traveling, safe travels to all of you, and hope you get to enjoy family and friends because that's important. So thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Boland took most all of it. But there's a lot of good things going on. A lot of good things going on. I will say it was neat, from the Spell Bowl competition to the football game, to the Phantom musical. There's just a lot of great things going on in the district. So thank you to everybody who's a part of that. Did want to say too, I think it's December the 12th at 6 p.m. Smith is doing the Grinch. So there's a performance of The Grinch on the 12th at 6 p.m. My niece told me to remind everybody because she has a role in it. Tana, I've done that for you. So there you go.
Any other comments from the board? All right. And then moving along, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn, Matt.
All right, I have a motion
I'll second.
and a second to adjourn. All those in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion adjourned, or meeting adjourned. Thank you for coming.
I know. It just sat here.